Breaking news.
Breaking now at 4, a stairwell collapse leaves 3 people dead and 1 injured in West Houston. This is at a construction site on Town and Country Boulevard near I-10.
This is Marathon Oil's new office building that is under construction. These are images of the damage from Sky 2. We've been following this story on air and online for the past couple of hours. We have several crews live on the ground covering the developments following the collapse. We want to begin with Andy Sirota, who joins us now from where this all happened. Andy.
Keith, good afternoon. I want to set the scene here for you. This is as far as we can go. You can see the yellow crime tape has been put up to seal off this area. I want to draw your attention to the chunks of concrete and all of the rubble. That's the result of that partial stairwell collapse that took place this afternoon. We were told that an injured worker who was rescued by a technical team is now in the hospital and is stable. HFD telling us all 240 workers who were at the scene, including the 3 who were killed and the worker who is now in the hospital, have been accounted for. Sky 2 over the scene earlier this afternoon. As I was telling you, a stairwell under construction on the far outside perimeter of the building partially collapsed around 1:30 this afternoon. HFD says it appears it collapsed from the ground up to the 5th floor and some on the 13th floor. The impacts from this collapse, we were told, may have gone all the way up to the 15th floor. A worker sent us some pictures, which he says shows us the stairwell in question, the one that partially collapsed. The other picture he sent us shows us the aftermath of that partial collapse. You can see, again, the chunks of concrete and the rubble on the ground floor littered all across the ground. Certainly, HFD has their work cut out for them this afternoon. They say right now it is just too difficult to pinpoint the epicenter or origin of this partial collapse, only that the entire stairwell has been compromised. So they can't do much at this point in terms of getting inside the building to do a secondary search or an investigation.
Anytime you have a primary collapse of a structure under construction, your biggest concern is a secondary collapse. We're currently waiting for structural engineers to confirm how we can make entry and ensure that there are no unrostered employees still missing.
We asked HFD about inspections, any inspections that took place at this building, and we were told that anytime there is a building under construction, there are inspections that are done periodically as the structure is being built, but HFD did not have the timeline for us at this point. As of right now, the names of the 3 workers who were killed, those names have not been released, nor do we know the name of the worker that was injured and pulled from the rubble of this building. Reporting live in Town and Country in West Houston, Andy Sirota, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Andy, thank you. Channel 2's Phil Archer continues our team coverage of this breaking story.
He is also live near the site of this collapse in West Houston. And Phil, you spoke with some of the workers at that site.
Well, we talked with a lot of people. We talked with workers. We talked with some of the neighbors around here. We talked with some of the rescue workers. What's interesting about this is some of these folks telling us it sounded like a bomb going off and that it felt like an earthquake, while at the same time people in the same vicinity didn't know about it until the fire trucks started showing up. Now, what we're talking about here, as Andy described, is several stories of concrete stairs collapsing on each other. We understand there's still 3 men who were caught in that crash. They were dead. They were still in the rubble. They're waiting to go in, waiting to stabilize the building to go in and see if they can take them out. We have a brief piece of video here I want to roll for you. It's very brief. It's only about 2 seconds, but it was shot by one of the workers, and it shows what it was like just as those stairs went down. The chaos and, I guess you would have to say, the confusion. It certainly looks confusing. Can we roll that right now? Okay, and you can just hear, like I say, it's very, very short, but there's an awful lot of power coming up out of the floor there after all that concrete came down. Now, somebody who is right next to it is a construction worker, a gentleman named Chris Mercado, that we talked to just as we got here. He was on the ground. He was unloading a truck right up in there when he saw what was happening. He saw that big cloud of dust after the stairwells came down and started running. And what he was telling us was well, he was the gentleman, frankly, who said it was like an earthquake. Let's listen to him.
I was one of the first people down to unload. Like, everybody else was still up there around the 13th floor and all the way down. So. They got pretty close because the building is 16 floors, and they made it to the 14th until it collapsed. So.
Now, of course, the construction workers, we had 240 witnesses to this. That's how many construction workers are on site here, all accounted for, as I think Andy said, 3 dead, 1 injured. Also, though, this building, this new 16-story office building going up, it's going to be a Marathon Oil building, is surrounded by apartment complexes. And so a lot of neighbors caught wind of this. Many of them heard it. Some of them saw it. Some of them were in their apartments, didn't hear or see anything until they walked out and saw the fire trucks. One of the folks here that we talked to, Marissa Price, felt a personal connection. She says that for months now, the construction workers have been coming and going past her place. She sees them at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, sees them going to lunch. Says she felt like they sort of become old friends, and now she's worried about those that are unaccounted for.
We see them pretty much every day when they get off of work and walk to their cars, and we see them at lunch. We see them all the time, so it's, you know.
So it's like you know them.
It's like you know them even though you don't know them, so it just really makes me sad for their families.
And we heard about this. We heard the helicopters and wanted to come over and see how we can help out because we heard about the deaths and the injuries, and so we just want to help out.
And that last bite with Reverend Andy Gans, he's with the Pines Presbyterian Church. They're just on the other side of this building. He was there with an associate pastor this afternoon. He heard the rumble and then came outside and then began hearing rumors about people lost in about the collapse and people lost in the wreckage. Again, right now where we are, we have the fire department staking this out. They're going to bring in engineers to try to stabilize the building. We don't know how long that's going to take. It could be hours, it could be days, before they can go in and take out 3 workers they know were killed in the collapse and who are still in there. So we're going to be here throughout, and as new developments arise, we'll have them for you live. Reporting live in Southwest Houston, I'm Phil Archer, KPRC Channel 2 News.
Certainly a sad situation, Phil. We appreciate the updates, and our hearts go out to the families of those 3 unaccounted workers. And we will continue to track any new updates and developments on this breaking story on our website, click2houston.com.